Hi, how's it going? This is, we could do this angle, or we could do this. No, I don't think I'll be doing this. Look at that slow transition. Hi, everybody. How's it going? It's been a long time. That was a weird way I said time. Long time since I've done a YouTube live stream. Long time, like a month and a half, long time. Actually, maybe 2 months. I don't even know. I don't know. But today, I really only have like 3 things, not even planned, just like 3 things I saw. And then really this stream is about you catching me up. So I'm going to put you to work. You will tell me what I missed. And I'll be like, oh, really? Wow. Okay. Let's talk about that for 2 minutes and then move on. So that's what I'll do. And then for really serious conversations, we'll get back to this. Be like, hey, how's it going? Have you made the right choices with your life? And then back here. We'll get to this. Spoilers. Jesus. These transitions are throwing me off. So here's the thing. Oh, cool. We already got some views. I took a week off and no one noticed. I just got to say, it's the first time I've been able to do that. It was amazing. The amount of time I put in the week before, I prepped 10 videos before I left for this week off. 10 videos. You don't understand. For like the kind of work that I do, the research that I generally do for most, unless it's like, a clip or something, which to be fair, I covered many clips. So, but even still, there's still, some kind of research or notes involved there. But all that prep, all that shooting, all that editing, The thumbnails alone take me like a half an hour. I put work into my thumbnails. There's a thought process behind them. Oh, so someone noticed. Okay. Maybe because nothing I covered was timely. It was all like from, a week before. But to be fair, from what I have seen, not much really happened when I was gone. I mean, things happened, of course, but nothing out of the, ordinary that would have required me to. Actually, right before I left, the Amazon union won their vote. So I was able to cover that quickly before I was off for my week. And that was like the biggest news. And then nothing to that level happened really for a week from what I saw. But that's why you're here. Because as I said, if you're just coming in now, you will inform me on what I missed. My hair's looking kind of weird. It's like poofy back here. Oh well, that's just how it is. So some of you noticed I was gone, but most of you maybe didn't. And yeah, it was the first time I took an actual week off of work since before the pandemic. It's very hard when you are self-employed like this, like when you're the only person doing this work. I think most YouTubers at this point, they have some help. I don't. I should at some point get some help. But even if I had help, I still have to shoot videos. Like, no one else is going to host the show. So it would still be work. But I don't know. So we'll get to some things that I did. Or that I prepped. Let me check my notes here first. I thought I had something else. No, that's it for the pre-show. Okay, let's go through some of these chats here. And we're just gonna have a good time. We're gonna chat. We're going to, shoot the crap, as they say. I will occasionally play things like this.
That makes rational national sense.
Janine Pirro, rational national sense. She said it.
That makes rational national sense.
That makes rational national sense. Somebody on Twitter alerted me to that she said rational national by accident during one of the Fox the 5 shows. So of course, I made sure to edit that out into a clip, and now it sits on the soundboard forever. Along with this,
when you have rational national priorities.
There you go. Yeah, thanks for bringing the stream down. Yes, Eric Bullard randomly died. That was really, I mean, I don't know him, but I, know of him because I'm on Twitter. But that was very random and tragic. Bicycle accident. Okay. All right. Looking at chats now. Let's see. Hey, Nanette, how's it going? I say hello to all my members. Boomer Dragon, hello. Winston the mod, hello. What else is going on? Chatting from northern Michigan, says Debbie. How's it going there in Michigan? Paul Mantella says, looking hot, bro. Well, thank you. Do the close-up, says Tyler. Hey, how's it going? I feel like when I'm this close, like there should be something important I'm saying. Really, this camera's good for focusing on things. Like this is all I have in front of me. But like, look at that. It's like product shot. I could sell you some shit. Nivea for men. But unfortunately, I have no products to sell you. So that's there we go. Let's see here. Lax Lifter says, love the ad for a home mortgage loan. YouTube really knows rational national audience. That's funny. Yeah, of course, people know this. I have no control over ads. So there you go. Home mortgage loan. Wormwood says, can you comment on the Katanji baby torture bullshit? See, this is why I asked you to catch me up because I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. In case you missed it, I was gone for a week. I have no idea what baby torture. I don't even know. I have no idea. Winston says, "Did you see that Destiny has become very transphobic after his ban from Twitch?" No, I did not see that. I do not pay attention to Destiny at all. I never think about him. Did not see that. Do not care about him. Whitest Rabbit says, well, hello, David. Hello, Rabbit. Medi H says, I was waiting for your video whole week. What? I had 10 videos out. What are you talking about? What video were you waiting for? The videos are out. Go watch them. There's 10 of them that I pre-shot. Pre-researched, shot, edited, thumbnailed, uploaded, scheduled. I don't even know how I did it. I mean, I was already working like 12-hour days, so it was like 18-hour days that previous week. I should try that more often though. Like if I feel like the next week's going to be kind of like dull, just like pre-shoot a bunch of shit. If I can, the hardest part for me is finding stories that I care about, that I care to cover. Somehow I found enough to cover for that week that weren't like, that weren't going to be out of date by the time they posted. Even though some of them kind of were, but they were still, applicable, or I should say relevant. There's another rabbit in here. Mr. Rabbit. Damn. Whitest Rabbit and Mr. Rabbit. You two should fight for who becomes the ultimate rabbit. But yes, Sunday stream. What's happening? What's happening is that nothing's happening, which is why I'm doing this. All right, I'll get to whatever I prepared here in a second, but I'm trying to read through some of these in case anything interesting appears. Some things I'm just not going to comment on because I don't know anything about them, so there's no point for me to even bring them up. Who is Eric? Eric Bollert was like wasn't he like a Hillary Clinton surrogate or something? He's like one of those, he was on TV a bunch of times. I don't know. I really just know him from Twitter. But yeah, he randomly died. Captain Spock says, how do you get a Canadian to apologize? Step on their foot. You don't know how accurate that is. I probably have apologized for someone stepping on my foot before. I'm sure that's happened because it's like I got in their way by accident and I didn't mean for you to step on my foot. That's definitely happened. Okay. Rocking that hair, says Diego. Yes, I am. I'm not even going to touch it. I mean, I'm going to cut it, but I'm not going to. It's a Sunday. I'm not going to do my hair for Sunday. Like, what is this? In fact, this is like too dressing up. I was just wearing a white shirt. And I'm like, this is too plain. So I put this like jean shirt over my white t-shirt. Will says, thank you for recommending RM Brown. He is hilarious. You are welcome. My only fear is that once you discover him, you will stop watching my videos because he is so much more entertaining than I am. But he does very different content than I do, so I'm not that afraid. I think there's still room for RM Brown and me in your life at the same time. Just saw Mel Gibson on Fox. What the hell? I don't. Speaking of celebrities, I got a Will Smith thing coming up shortly. We will talk about this. We will talk about more. Not the slap, obviously. There's another video came out that I find kind of enlightening. So we will discuss. Like, I'm going to try to keep this, I'll be honest, Sunday afternoon, it's going to be a light stream. Like, I'm not going to get into some of these topics that some people are bringing up right now. Not happening. Unless it's to make a point about, like, I don't know, Republican hypocrisy. But the actual, some of these topics, they're a little too grim for me right now. Rachel Atwood says, didn't Bryan Adams do that whole jean jacket look in the 80s, 90s? Well, maybe he did, but the Rational National is bringing it back. I have brought back jean jackets. No one else have worn them. No one else wore them in the 2000s before I did. So just thought it was a trend that's worth revisiting. Car Wash Freak knows what it's about. If you want to make sure I read your chat, Super Chat's the best way. Car Wash Freak 97 says, we have to stop Republicans from taking over and taking their oppressed laws federal level. I hope people see this. Are we talking about all the shit they're doing with LGBT rights and abortion? And yeah, that appears to be, like, if anything happened this week that I was gone, it's an even greater focus from the right on being discriminatory against the LGBTQ community, and a greater focus on being anti-abortion, if that's even possible. But really weird. And it's understandable why they're doing it, from the sense that they have nothing to actually offer, so they have to focus on demonizing a group of people, or focusing all their attention on these issues that have no sway economically, because they want to keep in power. They want to keep their money. So they got to distract. And it works really well, especially like that voting base. This is the thing that I think a lot of people maybe don't realize, or it doesn't click with them, is that even if you offer some of those people, I don't know, Medicare for all, for example, that doesn't mean they're going to back you over the person that's anti-abortion, because those issues for them, being anti-trans for them is more important, or being anti-abortion is more important for them than having health care. And that is a reality for a lot of the right wing. So, and I don't know how to solve that problem, because that is a problem with those people. Like, if you're willing to first of all disregard the humanity of others that aren't like you, and then on top of that work to oppress them, as opposed to moving towards universal health care or higher wages or more power in your workplace through unions, then I'm not sure how I can help you. Like, if you're that much of a effed up person, then can't really do much for you. A lot of denim opinions here. That was the 70s, actually, says Captain Spock. Mr. Rabbit says, bring sexy back. What else here? Rational National has the wettest drip out of everyone, of anyone I watch. Jean jackets are always in style, says Sir David. Rob says denim shirts never go out of style. Yeah, I think that's pretty much true. People have been wearing denim forever. I mean, I'm sure it's more popular, Jean jackets are more popular in certain eras than others, but generally it's not like it's never really off-putting. Um, Spooketh says, David, as a Floridian, is it worth it to move to Canada or just hunker down here and try to stop the extremism in my own backyard? Well, first of all, moving to Canada, unless you're already Canadian, is not, some easy process. I don't know what the process is because I was born here, so I'm not, deeply familiar with it, but I understand it's not, you can't just like move here. So there's that. And really it's up to you, like how impacted you are by the those laws, by the culture there. Because if you were not directly impacted, then you can definitely help to fight back against it. But I'm not, I don't fault anybody for wanting to escape a state like Florida or Texas or Tennessee for either their anti-trans, anti-gay, anti-abortion legislation. Like, if you're being impacted by that or will be impacted by that, I don't fault you at all for wanting to leave and leaving. That said, many people can't, even if they want to. And they're always going to need people there to, like, to be there for them. But it's I don't know, it's an impossible situation when Republicans control, state politics. It's really hard to just reverse just by, like, what really is staying there and fighting? Like, what does that mean to stay there and fight? Like, what are you doing? You're not physically fighting anybody. Like it has to be, there has to be a movement, right? There has to be something to join. There has to be some mechanism in order for you to actually affect change. Because if that isn't there, then, fighting without any actual fight doesn't do much either. Sorry, a lot of chats coming in now, so I'm missing. I feel like I am out of date here. Miles, what up, Miles? My buddy Miles here says, let's do another podcast soon. Absolutely. If you guys missed the first one, or at least the first one on this channel, go check it out. But check out the David Dole channel on the main page. You will see four fun discussions that me and Miles had, and then one on this main channel. But yeah, this month for sure, we will do another one. Kevin says the Blue Jays game though. I heard from somebody on Twitter that they came back from being down 7 what's it called, 7 runs. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but they came back from being down 7, and that's amazing. That said, if I were watching that game and the Jays were down by 7, probably would have shut the game off and missed the comeback. I don't find baseball, unless it's the playoffs, I cannot watch a baseball game. And no offense to anyone who can. It's a great sport. There's a lot of strategy involved. Like, I understand. But me personally, they're too long-winded. They go on too long. There's too much sitting and wait. It's not for me. Like, even watching hockey games, this is maybe an issue now with just phones, because I find myself, like, I'm playing Grindstone on my iPhone while watching the Leafs game last night, and it was an exciting Leafs game, and the Leafs won. And luckily, I was looking at the screen most of the goals. But, like, even during a hockey game that's fairly exciting and fast-paced, I'm still distracted. So, that said, once the playoffs start, and I'm sure I'll be disappointed once again, I will definitely pay a little more attention to the games. But baseball, I have to wait till the playoffs to really care. Did I miss a chat? Hold on, let me go up. I did miss one. How did I miss you? Oh no, maybe it came later. Let me scroll through these 1 second. Oh, here we go. They're coming up. Jacob says, what 2022 elections are you watching closely? I'm really curious about Pennsylvania and Fetterman and what's going to happen there. That's probably what I'm most just curious by, like what's going to happen there. And if, if Fetterman and Oz, Dr. Oz, that garbage of a man, that'll be interesting. Apart from that, I honestly, I haven't been all that engaged in like these midterm races, these primaries so far. Also, well, when's the Cisneros runoff happening? 'Cause that I'm curious as well. Looking this up. May 24th. All right. So May 24th is the Cisneros Cuellar runoff. It's amazing there's even a runoff in that race. Like, the guy is not only like Trump's favorite Democrat, supported Trump 40% of the time, at least before 2018. He also investigated by the FBI. Like, what? And he's anti-choice. He is the most conservative Democrat. He's in a safe blue district, and still there's a runoff. It shows you just how tough it is to unseat incumbents. Like it really is a problem. But that said, it's a runoff. Cisneros can definitely win. So we'll see. Vibrantly Brantley says, haven't had a chance to support you financially, so take my money. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Vibrantly. That will go to diapers. Much appreciated. Father Ted says, where on the list of deadly dictators is Trudeau? He's not on that list. I did a video this week, which is, Facebook is hilarious. So I had there's like three videos where I was criticizing Trudeau, like over the past 2 weeks. And then one video where I was not really defending him, but I was making fun of a conservative MP who called Trudeau a dictator. And on Facebook, the comments are like, how much is Trudeau paying you to defend him? Like, have you seen my Trudeau coverage? Clearly you have not. Because almost every video I do that involves Justin Trudeau is criticizing him in some way. And there's one video where I'm saying he's not a dictator by definition. And it's like, how much is he paying you? Like, Jesus Christ, you people are insane. You are literally insane. Facebook is the worst. Just the absolute dumbest people imaginable are commenting on Facebook. I'm sure there are, and to be fair, there are people on that are trying to like stop the bullshit and are trying to be like, yeah, he's not a dictator. Obviously, like, I don't like him, but he isn't a dictator. But the vast majority of comments are just brain dead, absolute brain dead people. Cheney said for sure that Trump committed crimes while in office. Will he ever be held accountable for his crimes? Dick Cheney said this. Well, I got a question for Dick Cheney. Will he ever be held accountable for his crimes? I'm sure Trump absolutely committed crimes. It's just, the messenger there is maybe not the right person. But thank you, Karen. Oh my goodness, more chats coming in. Sorry, all you normie chats. Have to, I'll still read yours for sure, but I got to get to the super chats because I don't know, they're supporting me. I have to. I can't say no. So Cure Optimism says Jason Kenney wants to kiss guys. Okay. That's one I wouldn't have read otherwise. Had it not been a super chat, I have no idea what that's about. Tim, and if he does, more power to him. No problem with that. Tim Gwan, and I apologize, Tim, for saying your name wrong. Sanders fan here. Do you think that Ro Khanna may have a chance if he runs for POTUS in 2024? Just curious about your opinion. I think no. So the scenarios matter. I mean, the context matters here. Is Biden still running? Because if Biden's still running, Ro Khanna definitely will not throw his name in. Ro Khanna is not someone to challenge power in that way. So he will not, I mean, in that scenario, he's not running, of course, has no chance. If Biden does not run for re-election, and Ro Khanna throws his name in, I discussed this in my video on his announcement, where I don't think he has mass appeal. I think Ro Khanna is fine. Like, Ro Khanna to me is like an Elizabeth Warren kind of figure, where it's like, okay, you know, I trust them more than, you know, Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. But they're not able to rally people the same way that a Bernie Sanders can, and isn't as stuck in their, aren't as, what's the word I'm thinking of here? I know that they're not as committed to like the working class as Bernie Sanders is my, from what I gathered from, you know, people like Ro Khanna or Elizabeth Warren, where they're fine figures and they would be, I'm sure, better than most presidents, but the chance of them actually winning, especially, you know, with Ro Khanna being a relatively unknown figure, he's just not the right vote. Like, people right now want non-politicians. They want people that are normal people. Like, that's why, for all his faults, that was a benefit to Joe Biden, that he is a bit of a fumbling mess, that he doesn't seem like an elitist, even though in many ways he is, but he doesn't come off that way. Which is why you ended up with Bernie and Biden, you know, at the end of it there. And of course, Biden had the boost being, you know, Obama's VP. But even still, I think that's the climate right now in politics generally. So Ro Khanna to me is too much of a politician to be successful if he's up against someone that is more like that. But who is there, really? Like, who is there that is like that? That isn't Bernie Sanders, and I don't think Bernie's going to run again. So that has, you know, I don't know. Like, you know, there are people like AOC, but there's so much now. There's so much, you know, it's a whole cottage industry of hate around her. It's tough for someone like that to now be successful because of that garbage. Unfortunately, Rashida Tlaib maybe, but again, I know she turns off a large, you know, swath of people as well. But I think her brashness, if she were to be like that, is definitely a benefit. Nina Turner, of course, but you kind of have to be, I don't know, at least in Congress to probably have a shot. So I don't know.
That makes rational national sense.
I did. I just saw that on the main screen here from CK Progressive. Did you save the soundbite of Janine Pirro saying rational national?
That makes rational national sense.
That makes rational national sense. Jamie Raskin, I do think, honestly, out of anybody, Jamie Raskin, Katie Porter, those two, I think they are solid. I think they are, they have the potential. That said, I do think not being a senator kind of hurts your chances a little bit. But then again, whatever. Trump became president. But then, you know, but he's also a Republican where they have less, you know, less, I don't know, invisible rules like that. So, but no, Cori Bush would be amazing. I don't know. She's like, I guess she's no more new than anybody else is. Like Katie Porter and Yeah, Katie Porter came in the same time as like Cori Bush and AOC. How long has Jamie Raskin been there for? But someone like Raskin or Porter, I think they're able to have like cross appeal for a primary, because unfortunately a lot of Democratic primaries are closed. You have to appeal to Democratic primary voters. You know, someone like Bernie, part of the reason why he had a hard time is because he appeals to independents, he appeals to swing voters, he appeals to people that would vote in a presidential election but don't vote in a primary, which is great if he wins the primary, because then he has a great chance at becoming president. But it's tougher to win a primary if you're not appealing to Democratic voters the same way that you appeal to independents. So Porter and Raskin, I think, have that cross appeal. But I mean, Cori Bush would be freaking amazing. Just her, like, her dedication, her fight, being a Black Lives Matter activist and going to Congress, like all that, she'd be awesome. Okay, I gotta catch up on these super chats here. Winston says Fetterman is destroying Oz in the polls. Good. I hope so. Dr. Wolfstar says, why are you such a biased new source? I'm not that new. Been here 5-6 years. But I appreciate the typo. Biased news source. You pander to the left and create radical. Why is radical capitalized, yet the beginning of your sentence is not? I question this. Create radical, dangerous redirect. Do better. You are no better than Ben Shapiro. Or as R.M. Brown calls him, Ben Shapano. Ben Shapiro. I'm no better than Ben Shapiro. Well, man, if only that were true. If I was like Ben Shapiro, then I would also be. First of all, I'd be putting an ad in every 2 seconds. I'd go to this camera and be like, now, before we get to this very important topic of the climate crisis, you should buy these USB. Look at this USB thumb drive. I'm selling these now. So go to my store and buy those. And then back to the show about whatever. Like that's his show. His show's all advertising and just pushing garbage day in, day out while making lots of money doing it. If I did a left the left, can you imagine? Oh my God. Can you imagine the house I could buy, the cars I could drive? But I will not, because then I could not live with myself, unfortunately. Paul Mantelis says, are you losing interest in electoral politics? I wouldn't say losing interest as much as understanding it is not everything. That nothing really changes without working class power, which comes in the form of unions, which we are seeing. Starbucks, Amazon. So that shit is growing. And out of anything right now that's going on, that is probably the most hopeful part of politics right now is those growing union efforts, because that's delivering actual power back to the people and taking away from massive corporations. So that fights like that help to generate the change that eventually, trickles up, I guess, to electoral politics at some point. Mike H says, given the incoming massacre that is coming in the 2022 midterms, do you think liberal/the left needs self-reflection? Why are we so unlikable? Who are you talking about? Not me, I hope. So you're conflating many things. And Mike, I like you. I've seen your chats many times. This is not against you, but this general idea of the left is unlikable. First of all, the Democratic Party is not the left. That's let's be clear. The left to me is, people, as I just said, fighting to unite the workplace, fighting for actual like actual universal health care, like Medicare for all single. This is not the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is very stuck in its status quo ways. They're of course members of the party, like I was gonna say Bernie, but Bernie's independent. But like AOC, Cory Bush, Katie Porter, that are actually fighting for people, but that isn't what the party leadership is currently doing. So we have to be able to separate, and to be fair, you said liberal slash the left, but they are very different. Like you can't really put them in the same phrase like that. So the issue isn't unlikability. It's how do you get people out to vote that don't normally vote? And you do that with an actual working class message. You are never going to be able to appeal to people that are going to put their hatred of others, their hatred of the trans community, their hatred of people that are pro-choice. You will never be able to win those people over with any economic message ever, like, or their hatred of anyone that doesn't look like them. So like any idea that you can appeal to those racists, those bigoted assholes with any kind of working class economic message is, to me, really stupid and misguided. The hope is when you have a message like that, is you're appealing to those that don't normally vote. And that is how, as Democrats, you win elections. And they haven't really tried that, have they? I mean, they tried in a primary like a Bernie does, but when you're only trying to appeal to primary voters, that is a very narrow class of people, and there's only so many people there that you can really like peel off. The actual wins come in the general elections. So the biggest fight is always in the primary. If you can get past a primary against a corporate candidate as a Democrat, you have a fantastic shot in an election if you are in a working class message against a dipshit Republican. But that's why the biggest fight, the most important fight really is the primary for Democrats, for working class Democrats that actually care. So it's not about being likable, unlikable. I don't even know what that means. Like, you're telling me Trump is likable? I mean, okay. To be fair, the reason why Trump's so popular, part of the reason is because he can be funny. He is a ridiculous person. He can be entertaining. But the vast majority of Republican lawmakers are deeply unlikable. Like Mitch McConnell, Tom Cotton, Matt Gaetz. These are all people that are just miserable, terrible, disgusting, horrible, boring people, and they win elections. And there's, of course, many reasons for that. But not having an actual challenger that is fighting for a working class message is a part of that reason. But don't be fooled into thinking that you're going to win over a conservative base with an economic message when all they care about is being racist and bigots. So just understand that the target really is those typical non-voters. How do you get those people out to vote? Because there's like 40% of people that don't normally vote. That's a huge number of people that if you're able to get, a good chunk of that, you can win elections. But how do you get them is the biggest issue. And then on top of that, you have all of the gerrymandering and the anti-voting legislation that the right's putting out as well. And they're doing that because they know the only way they win elections is if they limit the vote to Democrats. So they are playing this, dirty game, and Democrats are barely even willing to even call out actual corruption that Republicans are doing. Actual bullshit that they are putting out there. They're afraid to even call that shit out. Like, and you see them constantly, people like Nancy Pelosi or even Cory Booker during one of the hearings. He gave a Republican senator like credit for, I think it was Tim Scott. He gave him credit for like a speech he gave. Like, why do you feel the need to even do that? Why are you trying to reach out to Republican lawmakers at all when they do not give a shit about you? And the voters don't care if you do that. Their voters don't care. All it does is it makes you as a Democrat seem weak. So their whole, attempt here to be nice to the other side is so stupid, and it never works. Yet they keep doing it. Anyways, you got me off on a tangent here. Forget the original question. But yeah, it's not about unlikability. It's about a lot more than just that. And I am impressed by the amount of chats right now. And viewers, thank you for showing up on a Sunday to watch me do this. I have not even gotten to my 3 tabs that I saved. But if you're coming in late, I was off for a week. So I asked the chat to kind of catch me up on what's going on. And we're just having, discussions about random stuff. But if you want a chat to be read for sure, then send a super chat in. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of random right now because it's very, I'm surprised how many chats are coming in. Now I lost my place. Let me find these chats. Really? God, YouTube is the worst. To be fair, every streaming platform is the worst. There's a page that's supposed to show your super chats. I go there and it's like, no new super chats here to show you. Like, what are you talking about? There's a bunch here that I've missed. I have to scroll through the chat to find them. It's crazy how much power platforms like YouTube has and Twitch have and how shitty they are at their job. Okay, let me go. I have to find these now. This is really stupid. Oh, now it just got rid of all of them. Okay. Really cool platform you got here, YouTube. It's such a great platform where I can't even read the super chats that you encourage us to generate here. I'll find them in the back end. I have to go all the way to the back options and I'll find them. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me read now. Paul M says, hi, David. And by the way, these may not be in order because I'm reading them from latest to oldest. Hi, David. Long time, first time, yada, yada. F that other guy. You're doing a great job. Top 5 in your space for me. Cheers. Wow. Thank you. Top 5, top 5, top 5. Thank you. I appreciate that. In fact, that deserves.
That makes rational national sense.
It does make rational national sense. Your comment makes rational national sense. Cure Optimism says, thoughts on the political pendulum in the U.S. You mean like where it is right now? I mean, this is I don't know. The only reason this is even a thing is because both parties are just doing what they've always done. Like, if there was any shift in strategies, then the pendulum wouldn't be going back and forth. It's only going back and forth because no one's actually changing. Like, they're all just staying the same. So, I don't know. Like, yeah. Midterms are not going to be good to Democrats, most likely, because Biden has not accomplished much of anything. That isn't to say he could have been a lot worse. He could have been a lot worse on Ukraine, especially. He could have stayed in Afghanistan. There are things he could have done that would have been worse. That said, Build Back Better, I think, was a massive failure. And that isn't just on Manchin and Sinema. That's on Democratic leadership and Joe Biden to not know where the pressure points are to get your own freaking agenda passed. Like, can you imagine a similar situation with the Republican Party? They pass what they want to pass. I guess, the one example against that maybe is McCain being against getting rid of Obamacare. But again, like in terms of what they are trying to get done, as opposed to just tearing down, they always have support. And it's because what they want to get done, generally, much like most of what Democrats do, when it comes to economic policy, is benefiting people at the top of society. The difference, of course, is with the I'm going to stop calling them like social issues or cultural issues, because they aren't. They're human rights. Like, that's what these issues are. They are just as, if not more important than some of these other economic issues. Because if you don't have human rights for the LGBTQ community, then what do you have? So, like, I hate the idea that we can't talk about those issues or that we shouldn't talk about them because they're not. You have to discuss and stand up for human rights, regardless. So you can't pretend to, not support the trans community, because then you're just a bigot. You have to stand up for human rights. So that's how it is. And you do that while also fighting for other things, and attempting to appeal to a wider swath of individuals. As I said earlier, people that don't normally vote. That's how you win elections, and that's where Democrats fail. And even on the human rights issues, Democrats are also failing on those by barely fighting back. So they're just it's a failure on all fronts. Like when you have power, even if it's such a slim majority, you still have power, and you are barely doing anything to protect the rights of individuals at the very least, or the voting rights at the very least. You can't even do that. Yeah, you're going to lose, obviously. Will says the Dems know what they need to do to win. The power to be won't allow it. Yeah, basically. Christopher Antonio says, hey, David, ever considered covering / talking about Mexico? Seeing as it's the third North American country and an important neighbor of Canada and USA, we also have a leftist president. I just don't know enough, to be honest with you, about Mexico. I know Canada because I live here. And you can argue I know more about American politics than Canadian politics, just because I cover it more. I follow it more. It's just too much. Like, my brain is too small. It doesn't have the room to get too deep. Like, I'll cover like the occasional, story that happens internationally. Like, I can't even think of them now. But I have a playlist of like world politics. So I'll cover stuff in the UK. I covered recent elections like Bolivia and other elections that occurred the past couple of years. Like, I'll cover moments like that. Let me find my playlist. It's just not as frequent as what I normally do. And part of that is simply because I don't have the awareness as I do with American or Canadian stuff. Let me find here it is. So I have a world politics playlist. Let's see what's here. Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously, I covered Russia, obviously, and Ukraine. What else? Of course, Israel and Palestine. Portugal, recent socialist party win in Portugal. But also how their socialist party is actually more of a centrist party. But anyways, Honduras covered their election. So I'll cover the occasional, international story, but it's just not going to be as consistent as American or Canadian stuff. Will says, why won't Biden do what he promised? Do they want to lose? Because he is a politician. He is your typical politician that makes promises and does not actually fight to deliver. Now, it's one thing if he actually fought and actually tried to pass some of this stuff or used executive orders now, in all the ways that he can. But he's not. Like, so you can't just say, oh, well, he doesn't have the numbers in the Senate. He has to send him a mansion. He can't do anything. You can't make that excuse if he's not even using the executive power that he has to actually implement some of his promises. So, like, cancel some student debt, maybe. I don't know. I know he's done it with like some private colleges, but he promised $10,000 for every student. Has not done that, and that is barely a promise. But won't even do that. And he can do that through his executive powers. But yeah, I don't know. He's just a politician. He's afraid it'll hurt him. That's like, for whatever reason, and this has been the way for a long time now, for like 50 years, Democrats think that if they do anything to actually clearly benefit just the working class, that it will be viewed as a negative by the voting populace, and it will hurt them. Like, if they cancel student debt, oh, look at Joe Biden, he's gonna ruin my kid's future with the deficit and all this bullshit. Like, that's how they think. So they don't actually help anybody, and then they lose elections. They wonder why, or they don't wonder why. They don't care ultimately, as long as the ones that are always in power are still in power, then ultimately they don't really care all that much. Otherwise, they would change their strategies. Rachel Atwood says, greetings from Prague. My Ukrainian cat says hi. Cats say hi. Oh, hello. Hello, Ukrainian cats. What's up? Okay, I think I'm caught up on those. I still got some things to get to here. And yes, legalize weed, as progressive said, progressive Kev. Biden could, at the very least, remove cannabis from a Schedule 1. Remove THC from a Schedule 1 drug to a, or remove it out as a Schedule 1 drug. And he hasn't done that. So Javier Ramirez says, hope you're doing well, David. Love your show. Thank you, Javier. MC Dano says, how do we build a multiracial working class politics that combines racial and economic justice and avoids class reductionism? Well, let me tell you in this single sentence, I will answer all your questions and give hope to all for the future of the left. I have no idea. It takes time. First of all, it takes time. The biggest way, or the I guess most effective way, is through organizing efforts, unionizing the workplace. That is the most effective way, because everybody, the vast majority of us, are in the working class, and you have power as the working class within a union. You build that power. That power then has sway over politics. When you grow and actually, become a major pillar of American society, then you have more power as a collective. So I think it ultimately, that's where the power comes from. And you're seeing that begin to build now a little more. So there's some hope there for the future, as I discussed earlier. That the hope for me really comes from seeing those labor efforts with Starbucks, with Amazon. That's where it starts. And avoiding class reductionism, I think, it's a natural process when you are building a true multiracial working class labor effort. Because by nature, it's multiracial. So there's not going to be, the issues of class reductionism aren't going to be as present there as they are in like politics. Because this idea that you can't stand up for human rights because it's going to offend somebody. What, you're going to offend the right if you talk about like the human rights of trans people are going to, if that's going to offend you, then you can go fuck yourself and you can find a new voter. Like you don't not stand up for people that are under attack because you're afraid it may offend a conservative voter who's likely going to vote for the conservative anyways. So that whole, you can tell I'm kind of annoyed because I've been seeing that garbage for too long now, and it's really stupid. Bobby says, Joe Biden, like many other Democrats, is corporate controlled. Go to Open Secrets and list off his donors and how much they donate oil farm. I know, Bobby. I covered this extensively during the Democratic primary. Go look up Joe Biden on my channel. There was video after video of me going over that stuff. Yes, he is, for sure. That said, when it comes to politicians in that realm, I think he out of most of them is more swayed by wanting to be liked. But the issue again is he thinks to be liked, he has to appeal to conservatives as opposed to doing things that are actually popular. But yeah, of course, it's an issue with the party, with leadership especially. Case Study QB says, if you ran for office, and by the way, Case Study QB, check him out. He's always on those clips. He knows what's going on. says, if you ran for office in USA or Canada, under which party would you run? USA Democratic Party, because that's, if you want to have power and actually be able to impact change at all, the current makeup that's how the US system works. And people, I'm going to get back into this conversation for half a second because it's annoying. But you can't expect 8 Congress people to pass a bill by themselves. Not how it works. So understand, for those the Justice Dems to have power, there needs to be more of them. This is also why I don't just talk about electoral politics, because you have to really have a working class. There has to be that underlying fight, that growth in unions and what's happening outside of actual electoral politics for there to be any pressure at all. But anyways, on that point, you have to add to those numbers. That's the reality. And in Canada, I don't know. I mean, I guess the NDP at this point, because for similar reason. But it really depends on your riding. It depends on many things. It depends on what your objective is. If your objective is to actually win and impact change within government, then in Canada it depends on the riding. In the US, it's Democratic Party. If your effort is to simply raise certain issues, make a stink, you don't care about winning, then I guess it doesn't matter. Then you can run as an independent in both. But if you actually want to impact change, have an effect, then you have to be in a major party to have an effect. And you also have to, the party has to be willing to, in Canada, you actually have to, the party has to be wanting to accept you into it. In the US, it's almost better in that sense, because you can run in a primary and win as someone who maybe wasn't a Democrat before, just an independent, and you can win a primary and become the Democratic nominee. And that's, of course, where the real fight is there. But in Canada, the NDP has to agree to want you as their candidate for you to be able to, or Green Party or whatever. The way I became a Green Party candidate when I ran in Canada was I wanted to just volunteer. I really hated our sitting MP at the time. He was just he was putting out all this garbage about cannabis legalization and some other. Anyway, he was very conservative. All I wanted to do was volunteer for the Green Party and just help out. And they're like, "Oh, we don't have a candidate. Do you want to throw your name in?" It's okay, sure. And then the other person who was gonna try and run just dropped out, and then I became the nominee. And I was like, all right, not sure if nominee is the right terminology here, but I became the person to run as the Green Party representative. And yeah, the rest is history. As in, I didn't win. Mike H, do you like any sports? I do. I like hockey. To be honest, I enjoy most sports if I have a team to cheer for. If I have no team to cheer for, then I don't really care. I feel like I would enjoy American football more if we had a team in Canada. Then I may care more. I like soccer, especially around, Euro Cup, World Cup time. Canada has not qualified for the World Cup, so I'll be supporting them and Portugal. Let's hope they don't play each other. That'll be fun. And yeah, in terms of what I get really excited about, it's really just hockey and soccer. Basketball as well. When we're in Raptors, we're in the playoffs, but I'm not I'm a casual basketball viewer, so I'm not, I'm not gonna pretend here. Well, actually, I watched some Final Four, which I had never watched before, or what's it called? March Madness. Final Four? Whatever it's called. It's March Madness. You can tell I'm new to this. I watched a couple of those games. Very exciting. Like knowing it's like you have to win this or you're out. That makes it a very exciting prospect. Like I totally get why people enjoy March Madness for that reason, especially if you're betting on it, which I would never get into because it's terrible for your mental health. But I can totally see people getting into that. Canada has qualified already. I know, I said they qualified. I'm excited to watch it. Canada and Portugal. Now the super chats are showing up on my chat. Look at that. All right, should I get to the 3 things I saved? Do you play hockey? I've only played ball hockey. I am flat-footed, meaning skates hurt my feet. So I really don't like skating. I don't like it. I am anti-Canadian in that sense. Do not like skating at all. Never enjoyed skating. So if it weren't for that, if it weren't for my unfortunate lack of normal arches in my feet, I may enjoy skating more. Panthers are doing really well this year. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe Leafs and Panthers at the in the Eastern Conference Final. We're going to find out. I mean, that would be amazing. If the Leafs even make it past round 1, I will be excited. Get to the show. There is no show. There's just 3 things I saved, and then I'll get back to the chat. But here we go. Quickly now. Whoa. Transition. UN warns Earth firmly on track toward an unlivable world. How about that? Look at that. Cool. Next story. I love showing this graph because it is my favorite graph. But this person here says being trans used to be 1 in 30,000 10 years ago. Now it's 9 in 100. Unless they suddenly started putting it in the water, it's being treated as a fad to the detriment of people with a real mental condition. Full stop. This person replied with this incredible stat. The history of left-handedness. Notice how, for some reason, people were not left-handed in the early 1900s. But that doesn't make any sense because they were always left-handed. They were just afraid to acknowledge it publicly because of how they would be treated, which is why the number was down here. It was always at 12%. Exact same thing now. It was always around 9 in 100, if not even more. But it was always this number. Just not widely accepted into society. And still, I mean, for most trans people, it's still not widely accepted. But it's getting a little better, a little more, at least of a topic. And in some cases, it's not getting better. It's getting worse in some states. But just in the sense of like the cultural discussion around it. So understand, just because people say they are one thing does not mean that they actually are that thing, because they may be afraid to discuss or share who they really are. Now this, so I saw this shared by Anthony Fantano here. This is the Will Smith thing I want to share. I don't know. I feel certain ways after watching this video. So let's watch this. I'm sure some of you have already seen this. It's kind of awkward. So Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, is recording him right now.
So Will, you know Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me.
Oh my goodness.
If you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not You know, don't just start roll. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch us stare at the red table because she's helped us a lot. Can't you tell?
She just uploaded this? I mean, I agree with what's being said here. Obviously, this is separate from, like, you know, you don't smack somebody on stage. I hope this is clear. This is not a way to defend Will Smith from getting offended by a joke enough to hit somebody. But man, what the hell is going on here? So Fantano says here, Will sets a reasonable personal boundary. Jada ignores, dismisses insults, and also seems totally fine with putting him in a situation where he's visually uncomfortable. I'll leave it to y'all to label this behavior, but what I will say is it's not okay. That is, and this goes to what I said at the time when I covered this, is it seemed like because he first laughed at the joke, it seems like he was basically trying to overcompensate, and because his wife was not laughing. So then he like freaked out and like hit Chris Rock over that. No, Jada didn't make him do it. If you're talking about the slap, that's not what I'm saying. But shit's going on there, and it's sad to see. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but it's really sad. Dave L says, "Did you catch the fights last night? There were fights last night?" No, I didn't catch them. I like Aljo and Dern, but the IFC needs an overtime rule. I did not catch these fights. I'll catch the occasional like boxing match, the occasional. I pretty much stopped watching UFC at this point. I was never really like huge into it, but I would, you know, I would follow it a little closer, but I don't really follow it anymore. No, I don't know. Mike H says, do you support nuclear energy as a stopgap? It is emission free, and all the disasters combined. Is this cutting off your thing? Yes, it is cutting off. It is emissions free, and all the disasters combined have killed less people than fossil fuels do daily. So I'm going to first say I'm not an expert in this field. There's like a lot of debate around, you know, is nuclear energy good or not? I don't have strong opinions either way, because I simply do not know enough to have a strong opinion. And I don't know. The issue, from what I have understood, the issue is always the potential for massive disaster. Not to mention, you know, the waste that comes from it. As a stopgap, I don't see an issue, but it does seem weird to be building like new plants now. Like the stopgap would have been like, I don't know, 30 years ago as you're ramping up renewables. But again, not my field. I can't claim to be like, no nuclear power ever. Like I don't have a strong feeling either way. I need to know more to really have a stronger opinion. And it's not, honestly, not a topic I know enough about to feel strongly anyway. Will Smith I just saw someone's chat. Will Smith got banned for 10 years. Yes, he did. Harvey Weinstein, I'm pretty sure, is not allowed. Is he in jail? Is he not in jail? I don't follow this shit too closely, but yeah, the fact that he got more, that Will Smith, which did a stupid thing, obviously, but that he should have his Oscar taken away while Weinstein keeps his. Not to mention, who's the director? You know who I'm talking about. That guy. That also has, that I believe still has his Oscar. Polanski. Like, I don't know. I feel like Polanski and Weinstein are much worse. much worse than Will Smith. I don't know. Is that crazy? Mm-hmm. Yes, Polanski. So I don't know. Woody Allen? Yeah. Okay. So those are the stories of the day. It's pretty much all I saved. Louis C.K. won an award recently too. Did he? He didn't win an Oscar though, or did he? I don't know. I really don't pay too much attention to celebrities. I don't. I feel like generally, culturally, we pay a little too much attention to. Like they're just they're people that we recognize because they're in entertainment that we view. But do we really have to be so into like their lives outside of their on-screen characters? It's just weird to me. Anyways, let me Bill P, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, Woody Allen married his adopted daughter. Really, really bizarre. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that. Very, very weird. Very weird. And isn't there like some speculation that his son isn't even like his son? That it's like he's like Frank Sinatra's son, the journalist. I'm really bad at names, but you know what I'm talking about. The journalist that did the thing. Pierre Poilievre is trash. I agree. This is true. Ronan Farrow, yeah. Yeah, even Mia Farrow um didn't like rule it out. So I don't know why they just don't say it. Like, yeah, he is Frank Sinatra's son. Like, why are they hiding that? Do you guys hear my baby in the background? Don't worry, he's not alone. But he is crying. I may have to go as soon as this continues. Tim Tabone says, thanks for covering that dementia research story. I shared it with a customer of mine and it helped create hope. Oh, cool. I cover so much that I forget the details of what that story was about, but I do remember covering something about dementia and Alzheimer's and how there was like a breakthrough. But good. I like to hear stories like that. Player 2 says, good to see you away from the kiddo. Discord. I know. Actually, I was on Discord before I left for my 7 days away. I'm there occasionally. FamCam says, I've been a slacker and I'm filing my taxes right now. The entire time I went through all the health coverage shit, I've been thinking about your rants on healthcare. Thank you for all that you do. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your super chat. All right, we winding down. Daniel says, hey, David, longtime listener and working class trans vet running for assembly in California and would love the opportunity to come on your show. I don't do many interviews, I'll be honest with you. Don't do many interviews generally, let alone with candidates. But I'll check you out. I just feel like it doesn't help, to be honest with you. Like, because like unless you're running like a national race, it's just people in your district have to see me or have to see the interview, and that tends to not happen. John Pierre says, Norm Macdonald, my all-time top 5 comedian. George Carlin, number 1. Both are great. Please watch the video. We will fix climate change. Curious your thoughts against the UN's unlivable world doomerism. I'll look into it. That's part of the issue with me and these climate change stories is like, what do I do with this information? Like, there's shit that needs, like, it's such a monumental thing to tackle. And I discussed this when I had Alex Koch on this past week, and we discussed the nonprofit money funneled into climate lies. Is like, what do we do with this information? Like, knowing who's funding this garbage, knowing how much power they have, the hold they have over society. Like, it's really, it can be daunting for sure. And I don't know. I'll look at this video. All right. All right. Probably time to get off. Probably time to get off. To get off and do some other shit. But this has been fun. In fact, I prefer this to just like, I don't know, regular live streams. This is a lot more enjoyable. Just chatting with the fun people. Who's your favorite band? I like so many genres of music that I don't really stick with like one band. Like, I'm trying to think, who do I get like excited about when they're releasing something new? Like, usually it's not band. Usually it's like hip hop artists. Like, if Kendrick Lamar or something new coming out, I'm like, I gotta hear this. Drake, even though I know, he's not cool to like, but he is from my hometown. He's a hometown boy, and even though he hasn't really been, it's kind of fallen off since the second album. a lot. I really don't like any of his new, like anything past the second album, really. No, there's a few hits off like the third album, but I'm always hoping he's gonna rekindle some of that old shit, and never does. The Weeknd, I think, is always fantastic. So I probably get most excited about The Weeknd releasing new things, because I'm super into like this, especially the 80s vibe he's got going on now. I'm super into 80s. So the fact that he's doing that, I'm really into. And that I think he said like in an interview, he was inspired by GTA Vice City, which makes me like him even more. One of my all-time favorite games. Passion Fruit though. Passion Fruit's okay. It's a little, it's catchy, but I prefer I don't know. I don't know. Like, why am I forgetting the name of this song? Oh, Club Paradise. That's like the vibe I like. Club Paradise off the second album. That's my shit. And that Drake's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Passion Pit I like, but what have they done recently? Something just came to me and I forgot. Oh, I forget their names. I'm the absolute worst. Absolute. You will find nobody worse with trying to think of names on the spot than me, and it runs in the family. Like my mom still calls me my brother's name, and she calls him my name. Like it's this is a thing with our brains. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I should blame Portugal. I don't know who to blame, but our brains are messed up. But I'll find you some names right now, since I have my list of bands that I generally enjoy. Tame Impala, I enjoy. Beach House, I enjoy. Tears for Fears, pretty much most 80s stuff I enjoy. That's like retro 80s. Let's see here. Chromatics, though I think they're broken up now. The XX, actually, out of any band, out of like a band, not just artists, like bands, for me, the XX, like if when they release something new, I'm gonna be all over that for sure. And when it comes to like, I don't know, like rock and like grunge or whatever, for me, anything from the 90s is good, but I feel like a lot of that, like, is there even new rock music anymore? Like, I feel, is the genre like dead? I don't really know who's releasing new things that would constitute, like, I don't know, that classic sound, or that like, 90s early 2000s sound. Eminem, not a band, but I would like if he kind of could return to some more of his moody shit. I enjoy moody Eminem, like Recovery album Eminem. The War on Drugs, there you go. That's a band that like is like a rock band. They're good. M83. I could just sit here all day and list bands off. We're not gonna. This will entertain nobody, except for myself. But there you go. There's a little taste. Most of my playlist though is probably half of it's like hip hop. The other half is a mix of like, I don't know what to call it. A lot of like moody, maybe 80s. What's that genre called where it's like like bedroom pop or something, or like shoegazy, like shit like that. And I gotta say, I want to see Grimes make a comeback. I want to see. I want to see if she can do it. Ever since Elon, man, those Grimes songs just aren't as good. But I feel like she can return to like Art Angels, Grimes, or even prior that. That would be some. That'd be some good stuff. Oasis, sure. I like me some classic Oasis. I mean, my awareness of Oasis is just like whatever the hits were. Some Sum 41, sure, why not? Red Hot Chili Peppers, sure. They released. I know they released a new album because I watched Needle Drop's review of it, but I have not heard it. Grimes was on Hassan's show. I know. I saw some. I watched some clips. Hoping she comes back with a vengeance. B-52's Love Shack. Every time I think of the B-52, weren't they in the Flintstones movie? Or there was like an imitation of them in the I think they were in the Flintstones movie. Every time I think of them now, I just think they're perfect for like the Flintstones. Like, they belong on the Flintstones. And maybe just because they were in that movie. Yeah, they were. Okay, I wasn't just making this up. Man, that Flintstones movie, the first one, I watched that. I had that on VHS. You don't know how many times I watched that movie. I almost forgot that existed. I watched that movie so many times. So many times. I was huge Flintstones fan. I feel like no one's ever said that before, that they were a huge fan of the Flintstones. But that's me. Gord Downey, of course. Man, Bob Cajun is like one of my favorite all-time songs. I did see Inventing Anna. Yes, I did. It was it was okay. It was okay. There was some really weird things. Like I can't. It would be spoiling if I even got to it, so there's no point. But some of I just felt like they were like, really, like this person's offended by this after what happened with this person. Like it's just like what the. It seemed really unrealistic, even though apparently based off a true story. But you know, I'm sure a lot of it. In fact, I know a lot of it was not real. City in Color. Mm-hmm. You've been to Bob Cajun. I probably have. I probably driven through it. I don't know if I've actually been there. I forget where it's. I forget where exactly in Ontario it is. It's in the Kawarthas. I gotta see a map. I remember looking up. No, I don't think I've been there. Oh, maybe I have. Maybe I have. I've been to Buckhorn. You been to Buckhorn? It's about looks like it's probably like 30 minutes from Buckhorn. But I saw like an interview or like an explanation of how he thought up Bob Cajun, and it was just because he was looking for a word to rhyme. And Bob Cajun was like the only place that rhymed with the word he was looking to rhyme. With Constellation. Because Bob Cajun with Constellation. Yeah. So the only city that rhymes with constellation is Bob Cajun. Which also works well because you can see the constellations in Bob Cajun for sure. All right, this is a very Northern Ontario discussion right now. No one else understands. David Lynch made a buckhorn joke once? For real? How? How does he even know? How does he even know of buckhorn? Man, that song, I want to listen to that song now. It's really shitty that we can't listen to music on stream. Otherwise, you get taken down. It's pretty stupid. Like, music is like a lot of my life. I'm like listening to music in the background. But when I'm streaming, can't do it. Why don't you have an RGB LEDs in the YouTube play button in the background? What does that mean? Like on my green screen? Or do you mean like overlaid on the chat? Because clearly I'm on a green screen. Can't do much with the green screen. But I'm not sure what this not overlay, but I'm not sure what your request is about. There's a buckhorn in Ohio? Oh man. Didn't know that. Buckhorn feels less special now. All right. All right. We're winding down. Getting off. It's been fun. It's been fun. Very fun. But it's time to go. So, thank you all. I have to think of what the hell am I covering tomorrow? Because what happened? Did anything happen? Anything important? Not really. The whole point of the stream is to find important news this week. And nothing happened. So, I don't know. Maybe tomorrow morning something will be worth covering. Well, thank you all for showing up. As Dark Canuck says, it's been great. It's been great. Thank you all. And see you in a proper video tomorrow. Goodbye. Before I leave.
That makes rational national sense.
Thank you, Janine. Goodbye.